Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Excuse my messy bed, but we're just getting cozy today. I do have some makeup and hair on. I know I had mentioned you wouldn't see me all pretty as often, but I happen to be going to places whenever I have time to make videos, so I look presentable. But today we're gonna kind of go over my hospital experience, what I took from my hospital, like the everything that I went through, what I wish people would have told me, and like the roller coaster of emotions that I went through. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so I want to start with a little background on me. So I found out I was pregnant in July of 2019, so I conceived in June, and I actually found out I was pregnant on the day that my best friend was in the hospital giving birth to her son. So pretty cool experience, I'll never forget. But basically at the time I was working full-time 6 to 9 days a week with like maybe one day in between. I got lucky if I got 2 days in between, and on top of that, each of my shifts were like 10 to 13 hours a day. So it was really hard in the beginning, and when you first start out you still feel the same, but once I started getting more tired, like there was a point where I was like, I'm gonna blow my mind or I'm gonna hurt somebody. Like it was rough, and I had to tell them to cut back my hours, like, and I lived off of overtime, so that definitely was a struggle through there, but it was worth it because all my life I really knew I wanted to be a mom. Like that was the number one thing I wanted out of my life. And so when it happened finally, because for a while I swear I was infertile for many reasons, and for many reasons I had a reason to feel that way, but thank God I was able to conceive with my boyfriend, and worked out great. So she was born March 13th at 10:56 a.m. My experience giving birth, I am so blessed, and I'm scared to have another kid just because of the fact of how good my birthing experience was. So we got induced, and on the 11th at like 8 or 9 p.m. and they induced me, did all that stuff, the normal induction process, broke my water, and then next thing I knew, they're like, it's like, I don't know, crazy early in the morning, and they're like, all right, it's time, and I'm like yelling at Nathan, I'm like, wake up, we're getting the epidural, you need to wake up and be here for this. So like I was low-key freaking out, but super excited because like we had been waiting for this moment forever. So yeah, so I gave birth to her at 10:56 a.m. The whole experience was super easy. I actively pushed for like 2 hours, and I didn't feel any pain. The epidural worked awesome. I didn't have any pain. Like the only pain that I had was like the last two pushes because her shoulders were a little wide, so my OB had to go in there and literally put her hands in and pull her out. So that was a little painful. I could feel that, but I really can't complain about that versus other women's experiences. And I'm just so thankful that I was able to get that epidural and that it worked so good for me, because I've also heard a lot of reviews from mothers who said that it didn't work good for them, or it did but they came out with back problems and it was awful. And so far I am almost 5 months postpartum. I have not had any of those issues, so super grateful for that. So moving on, the number one tip and thing that I can tell you is do not be embarrassed. Like when you're in the hospital giving birth, at that point you should kind of like already know that everybody's gonna see your girl part, because your OBs, like on your, when you go see your OB in your appointments, they check down there. Like the first time it's a little embarrassing, the second or third time it's like okay, but when you're in the hospital, you're in so much, there's so much going on, whether it's you're in pain or it's chaotic or whatever it is. There's just too much going on, and you're so ready for your baby to come out that you don't care who's looking at it. So don't stress over that. Don't even make that something to stress about, because you got so much going on. You do not need to add anything else to the plate, especially something so unnecessary. So just keep that in mind, because I know a lot of women who were like, oh God, I don't know if I feel comfortable about that. You're giving birth. You're pushing a child out of it. So at that point, you just can't. You can't be scared of those things, because compared to what's coming, it's so minor. Okay, so second thing that I want to tell you is that take everything from the hospital that they give you. They're going to give you drawers full of stuff. They're going to come in, your lactation consultant, all the nurses that you see, your OB, they're all going to give you different things. They're going to put your babies in clothes, like little white swaddles or hats and blankets. Like, all of that is for you. Take it. And when I was leaving the hospital, I was struggling feeding my daughter, and so they had like those pre-mixed formula bottles, and I was like, hey, can I get some more of those just in case I can't get her to latch? And they came in with like 2 or 3 more boxes, and there's like 6 bottles in each one, and they just gave them to me. And that's what they're there for. They're there to help support you. They're there for anything that you need. So when after you give birth, all the afterbirth, everything that you go through with down there, ask for extra. That's what it's for. Like, they give you stuff specifically for you to heal, for you to have pain relief. Like, that's what those things are there for. So take advantage of that, and don't be afraid to talk to them about it. And if you need more of something, say you need more. You're a mom, you just gave birth, you just pushed that child out of you, or you had a C-section, whatever it is, the healing process is just a lot on a woman's body. So definitely take advantage of all the stuff that they're offering you guys. Okay, tip number 3. So I know a lot of women are like, the first night with their baby, they pushed a child out of them, so they're under a lot of stress, and they're going through a lot, and they want to be like there for their child, and they don't want their child to like be without them, so they can't let the child go off with the nurses or do anything. And I was that way too. The first night I was like, I want her to be with me. I'm a mom now, I need to be here with my child. And so if anything was going on, even if she just cried the whole night and I didn't get any sleep, I was like, that's my fault. I brought this onto myself. I have to deal with it. This is gonna be my life. That is true. You may not have, thank God I had help coming home, but some women don't. However the situation is, not everybody has support. So take advantage of the support that you're given in the hospital. If you've only got 2 hours of sleep and your child's crying nonstop, and the nurse comes in and says, hey, let me take the baby to the nursery and give her a bath and a bottle or whatever it is, and you need sleep, it's okay. I did that. The first night I was pushed to my extreme limits. I had been so tired and I didn't want her to go, but then on the second night I was like, I can't, I've got to sleep. I was so dead tired, and I realized I was okay after it. I was okay, and she was okay, and it didn't change anything because she doesn't remember those things. I'm making a big deal out of something that she's not gonna remember. She's gonna know me because I'll be there every day going forward, and as much in her life as I can. And one day, one night of her going away with the nurse isn't going to make a difference. So don't be afraid to take advantage of the help that the nurses and the doctors are offering you. Okay, my girls, so this is a big one. After everything that you just went through, after post giving birth, you, whether you realize it or not, have such a fluctuation of emotions going on. You're overwhelmed, and sometimes you're so tired you don't realize all the different emotions going on. And I was so focused on my daughter in the hospital that I wasn't thinking of myself, and I wasn't thinking of what's after and taking her home. I was just thinking in the moment. So when we were about to go home, I didn't feel comfortable going home yet. I was like, I still need more time with the lactation consultant. I still need more time with the nurses. I need their support. I need them to answer all these questions that I don't know. I need them to still be right here where I can press a button and they're gonna come to me. I need that. Like, I can't go without that right now. I'll lose my sanity if I do, or I'm gonna keep running to the hospital every 2 seconds. So whenever that hit me, we were leaving the hospital like that day. Oh my goodness, I was sobbing. I was just crying and crying and crying. And my whole hospital experience had been so good that it made it even more emotional, because I felt like, even though you're only in the hospital for what, 2 or 3 days, like, those memories are going to be part of you forever. Like, that moment that you gave birth to your child, and it's memorable and it's ingrained into you. So that whole experience is super emotional. And when you have a great staff and a great hospital, it adds so much more emotion to it. So I had so much emotions, and I was attached to the hospital already, and I loved my OB. And so I was super emotional leaving, and I didn't realize it until like the last minute. And I was like, Nathan, I don't want to go. I'm sobbing. I'm like, we can't do this without the nurses. What are we gonna do? Even though everybody goes through this. In my head, I'm like, we can't do it. We're not gonna make it. But we did. We're okay. Again, we're almost 5 months postpartum. But it's normal. It's normal to have those emotions. Just there's nothing wrong with it. Like, if you feel like crying, cry. Whatever your emotions are, let them out, because you just went through a major life-changing thing in your life and on your body. Like, it's a lot. So take it easy on yourself those first couple days, the first week, the first month, whatever time you need to heal mentally and physically, because it's not just your body, it's definitely emotionally and mentally. Like, 100%. Do not tell yourself it's not, because it is. Your body just went through this miraculous thing, but it affects you mentally and emotionally. So it's okay. Accept it, because if you try to keep pushing it away, it's only going to pile up, and then you're going to have a breaking point that's not going to be so easy to get through. Okay, and my fifth final tip is something I think a lot of people can agree on. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask. All the help that you have surrounding you is there for a reason. Like, if your question sounds stupid, you're the only one it sounds stupid to. You have to ask that question. You're setting yourself up, so you have to be bold enough to, and get the courage to just be like, hey, I don't know, this is my first time, like, the doctors understand, and the doctors deal with so many patients that, one, they're probably not surprised by your questions, and they've probably heard it before, and two, if it is ridiculous, it's not going to faze them, because they got so much going on that they're going to forget about it and after a little bit. So just don't let fear stop you from asking questions that might benefit you. If you need to know something, whether it's from the doctor, from your OB, from your lactation consultant, whatever it is, like, don't be afraid and take notes. Like, they come in and you just gave birth to a child, and they're giving you so much information, so much paperwork. It's so hard to remember things, so hard. And like the few days after I got to the hospital, I was like, the doctor said this, but I can't remember exactly what it was. So it's okay to write things down, and I wish I would have done that on some things. Like, nobody told me that, to write certain things down. So it's a good thing to have, and definitely a good tip. Alright guys, and that really wraps it up for this video. I appreciate you sticking with me through this. I hope these tips helped you in your experience. Please comment down below if they did, and other things that like your experience. I'd love to hear other people's experiences. Up all the way till I gave birth, I watched so many birthing vlogs, not because I wanted to know what it was like. I just enjoy hearing other people's experiences, so please share them with me. I will listen. So that's really all for today, and next week I will kind of go into things I wish people would have told me with having a kid, like the top 5 things, and kind of going down that route. So if you're interested, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned. Thank you guys.